baixinho. Ei, ei. Não, não. Ei. Ahá, está quase. Tá. Ora, muito bem. Temos aqui Stories, The Path of Destinies, um jogo espetacular, muito pequenino. Quase ninguém conhece este jogo. Portanto, vamos começar aqui um novo jogo só para mostrar como é desde o início. Sim, pode ser, não há problema.
Once upon a time, the infamous rover Reynardo plundered the floating isles. Then his mother called him to her deathbed.
Este jogo é todo narrado por este senhor.
That you won't die on the gallows. She rasped. Reluctantly, he swore. And he whiled away his days at home with music, cards, and wine. But the Emperor had changed. He'd been good once, a shy, almost humble toad. He'd built universities. Then people started whispering about mass graves in the woods, midnight rituals, victims screaming. The Imperial Ravens would round up entire villages, and no one ever returned. The Ravens had come to Ubar scouting for ancient books said to be of great power. But the librarians had hidden the books, so they'd burnt the librarians. The citizens, outraged, had driven them off. The Ravens had come back with dropships. The kid had fled with one of those books. He was brave and dumb and wanted to join the rebellion. And Reynardo had promised his mother he'd protect him.
Vai começar a primeira missão, portanto, temos de ajudar o puto a fugir. O pequeno coelho. Nós com os loadings.
The kid was looking down, watching his city burn. Sorry, kid, Reynardo told the kid. Look, if we give them the book, they'll leave you alone. My mother died for this book! I promised her I'd protect you. Oh, damn it. The kid had run off. With the book, of course. So Reynardo had to run after him.
O jogo é nesta perspectiva tipo Diablo. Tem umas cores bastante vibrantes, uns gráficos engraçadinhos. Não são assim super especiais, mas são engraçados.
The two ravens were staring at the kid like he was their dinner, which probably was what was in their tiny brains. Hey, Reynardo said. They cocked their heads at him. Pick on someone as ugly as you. Wait, that didn't come out right. For the Emperor!
Isto é sempre
Ravens cawed and rushed at him.
piadas. Tem um sistema parecido com Batman. Tem que fazer ataque iminente e contra-atacar. Bastante rápido, bastante engraçado. Mesmo para um noob como eu, que não tem assim grande experiência em combates. Como é que se chama? O menino de utilizar é bastante fácil e de apanhar rápido um jeito.
A dropship flew overhead. He hoped they hadn't noticed him. The kid.
Vou agarrar e tirar o adversário.
Oh, right. The Gate of Heroes. Someone's idea of a joke, making the skyship docks a gated community. You needed a hero's sword to open it. And the kid was on the other side of the gate. Who let you through? Promise me you'll take the book to the rebels. Or I'm gonna steal your ship. I'm not taking that damn book anywhere. And neither are you. Try and stop me, laughed the kid. I bet you don't even have a hero sword. And with that, the kid hopped away. Had to hand it to the kid. He was an idiot, but he had guts. Where was Renato going to get a hero sword?
Aqui. Que vai buscar a nossa primeira espada de herói.
Ore and wind essence? That sounds about right. I'll need a workshop, though. Perfect. A hero sword. QED.
A espada não tem grande utilidade, não sei para abrir portas.
This is what he got for settling down and finding people to care about. The kid's mum had been a swell cook, and she'd laughed at Renato's jokes, even when he didn't know he'd made one. And the ravens had come to burn her. And she'd made him promise to protect the kid. But she never told him where the book was. Just the kid. He came up to a ledge. It was too far to jump. There'd been a bridge here before, hadn't there? And there was Peter, giggling at him. How'd you get across? He asked the kid. Where'd you find a hook? I hopped, said the kid. Wise-ass kid. Hey, look out behind you. Q, said Renato. Ah, ravens.
Vamos voltar com os corvos também.
It was time to talk some sense into the kid. Just hook his way across the ledge and chase the kid down. Thing was, he hadn't used his hook since he'd retired. How had he done it? Maybe if he meditated at that altar there, he'd remember his old skills.
Claro. A primeira será sempre aquela que não precisa utilizar, portanto, que é o gancho.
It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. And there was the Farfarer. She was the fastest ship he'd ever known. She could do the Kestra run in 12 furlongs. Oh, so the salesman had told him. And something told him the kid was about to walk into an ambush. Stop! He shouted. I'm not giving you the book! Shouted the kid, and took off. No! Peter! But the kid ran for it. And a goggler nailed him with its ivy.
No. Só para ser atacados por trás. Só vamos com um raio. É bocado chato.
The book was unburned. Next to it were the buckles from the kid's shoes, and a kid-sized pile of ashes. Damn it. Why hadn't he lied and told the kid he'd take the book to the rebels? The kid would be alive now. Really pissed off and betrayed, but alive. Oh, damn it. Renato picked up the book. He couldn't let the Empire have it now. He was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway.
Peter.
was the big deal about this book anyway? Maybe he should open it and find out. All that had been years ago. How many? The war was a blur, and now 3 Raven scout ships were chasing him. "Where are you running, rebel?" cawed the Raven captain over the loudhailer. Renato could see them cranking up their catapults. "Just going out for milk?" Renato yelled back. "Where can you run?" laughed the Raven horribly. Far behind him, another city was burning. The dark cloud above its island was thousands of Imperial ships. The fleet was doing a thorough job. "Take us to the rebel base, and we'll spare your life!" it cawed. The entire jury-rigged rebel fleet was only a few islands to the east. Beyond that were only the pillars of heaven, a sea of endless blood-colored tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time, unless Renato could bring a game-changer. Maybe he could. Renato had found out where he could find the pieces of the Sky Ripper, the legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon could win the final battle. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino had sent Renato a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion. If Renato could only rescue him. Renato dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off, not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lapino or the Sky Ripper.
Como somos herói, acho que ir ajudar amigo será melhor.
Lapino. Apparently, the Mad Rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lapino always wiggled out of trouble, given time. But he was out of time. The Ravens had figured out that Lapino was a rebel spy. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse.
Agora vamos lá outra vez para espera do loading.
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens? Renato's blood was up. He just needed to smash something.
Pois há estas piadas enquanto que estão para nós levar. Esse trabalho não tem nada, portanto não vale a pena estarmos aqui a chatear. Dinheiro. Não tem mais nada. Estes elevadores especiais com estas.
Renato wondered if it wasn't cheaper to build bridges and stairs. People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Renato had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the Ravens caw about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. Firewalls only let you through if they think you're hot enough. Russians were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Where had the mad rabbit got to? It was good to practice your moves, thought Renato. Keeps you limber. Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that.
Movimento súbito para podermos fugir de
It
ataque
was
rápido.
starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot. Like how to freeze time when attacking.
Com só
The more he
vigor, são
fought,
estas duas
the
barrinhas
more
que
he'd
estão aqui embaixo,
probably remember.
debaixo da legenda. Fica sem um bocado de vigor. Mas pode recuperar rapidamente, que é ótimo.
Can't we just agree to disagree? Said Renato. No? That is how we do it, said Renato to himself.
Também concordo, assim é que se faz. Outra porta. Tem aqui outra porta. Tem coisas ali muito boas, mas infelizmente não posso usar ainda.
Renato was remembering all his old tricks, and some new ones. Now, he really ought to ask for a
Para
raise.
trás este é o altar e usá-lo. Compras não é preciso, reflexos defensivos. Este é importante. Porque atrasa o tempo e dá-nos mais tempo para um ataque. Sempre que fizemos uma defesa bem feita, conseguimos fazer coisas boas. Já temos o fim deste nível.
Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lupino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and, oh, his only daughter. That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power. Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renado's best friend in Sword Fu school. And you're still mad for her, the rabbit reminded him. They'd been close. She'd told him things no one else knew. But she'd never told him who she really was. She knows all the Emperor's plans, chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lapino. Taking her would change the game, all right.
Então, vamos lá, então, apanhar a Zenobia. Enquanto ficamos aqui no loading. Acho que a única coisa que eu tenho de chatear com este jogo é o loading, que é tão lento. Mas é um jogo bastante engraçado.
The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty.
Minério. Grandes elevadores. Mesmo a cidade destruída no fundo, com a coisa é bastante bonita.
Hero wall. Hero sword. Ice wall. Ice cube.
Ice Cube. Até o Ice Cube tem piadas neste jogo. Ah não, Gobblers. Cuidado para poder chegar e matá-lo logo antes de ele nos poder atacar. Esta é uma área muito chata. Está cheia deles. Ok, consegui matar dois logo.
Bet you never saw that coming.
You didn't saw that one coming. Oh! Exatamente. Às vezes é mais fácil que coisa, às vezes vem de um lado, vem do outro. Vai dependendo do jogo. Desta vez tive sorte, eles chegaram com coisa. Estes são elevadores que aparecem, ou teleportadores que aparecem de outras áreas que nós podemos aceder com a nossa espada.
What's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lapino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lapino dressing as an old blind toad, and Renato hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Renato. Oh, this is going to be fun, said Lapino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan. If I craft a sword now, it's going to be really short.
Aqui não posso usar. Vou ter exatamente um ponto com corvo. Entre aspas. Inclusive é ao fim do jogo. Oi! Não consegui primeiro. trás. Muitas vezes não resulta a mesma coisa.
Renato felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Pino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Renato jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat. "Renato," she said, "are those new scars? They look good on you. You never return my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Oh, what does an imperial princess know about style? Oh, get a room, you two," said Latino. But the fleet was coming on fast, so they put Zenobia on the Farfarer and took her east, over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Ah, Lapina was right, Renato thought reluctantly. She knows things. She recognized his look. "You're taking me to the interrogators, aren't you?" she said, wide-eyed. And then she jumped, with horror. Renato saw Zenobia plummeting. Then he saw the Nexus below them. Cats always land on their feet. "Ah, she'll head for the Imperial outpost," yelled Lapino. "You have to catch her."
Bem, aqui não vai poder escolher porque a escolha foi feita por nós, a Zenobia fugiu e portanto temos de capturar.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost. Well, he did love a good chase. These platforms were great. Renato wanted one for his house.
Também gostava de ter uma assim, era rápido. Mais rápido subir até o terceiro andar. Está com pressa de apanhar, mas não estou. Independentemente se formos rápido ou não, o jogo vai nos levar. Pois acho que é um bocado linear também em relação a isso. Mas...
Who needed bridges anyway?
E há sempre a oportunidade de apanharmos boas coisinhas. Ok, voltamos ao sítio principal. Como veem, voltamos outra vez ao sítio onde começámos, em vez de fazer aquele caminho todo. E portanto, continuamos no caminho correto até atingir aquilo que necessitarmos. Esperemos que não haja. Este jogo ainda tem alguns bugs. É um indie game, portanto não tem o budget que tem em grandes jogos. De vez em quando há um. Oh, lá vem o feiticeiro. Sempre. Só perdeu. Aquela área disponível. Ah! Era assim. vida. Mais importante. Ups, sorry. Muito bem.
Bernardo checked for a false compartment. Nope.
Tem sempre esses espíritos. Mentiras no meio. Não são repetitivas todas, portanto nunca é uma coisa de ficarmos sempre a ouvir a mesma coisa.
He was closing
piada,
on her.
sempre uma coisa.
He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his.
E o narrador dá sempre uma boa impressão do que a personagem está a pensar, do que a personagem está a fazer.
A crafting bench. Bernardo wondered what he could make with it.
Posso construir mais uma espada? Posso passar para esta, para dia 2 e ele pode começar a curar, o que é ótimo. Portanto, agora podemos curar o nosso próprio personagem com a espada. Mas esta também só faz isso. Agora isso que eu tenho que fazer. Quero já atacar aqui. Aqui o nosso último combate, exatamente. Au! Já passou. Ah, ainda bem que um feitiço. Escapar rapidamente.
Bernardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. Oh, you left without saying goodbye. Again, he said, please. I'm enjoying this a little too much. She said, shaken. Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you? Said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Bernardo about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Bernardo didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her?
Aí já sabe o que é que eu vou escolher, né? Como herói que sou, não vou
As they
falar
pulled
mais
away from the Nexus, Bernardo could see the fear in Zenobia's eyes. I can't take her to those creatures at the base, he whispered to Lapino. Ah, you've gone soft. Soft in the head. We captured her for what she knows. I'll take her to the mountains. Tell all the horrible things the Emperor's done. Yeah, believe me. She'll turn. And he turned the wheel. The hell you will! Shouted Lapino, and he grabbed the wheel back from him. The two of them wrestled for control of the ship. It shot off like a mad sparrow. Suddenly, Bernardo was falling.
Agora vamos lá, então, tentar convencer recuperar o nosso barco e tentar convencer a Zenobia a ficar do nosso lado. Para a batalha final com o Imperador. O pai adotivo dela. Que é um sapo, por acaso.
When he came to, Zenobia was standing over him. Why didn't you take me to the base to be interrogated? She demanded. Do you know what's left of people they interrogate? This is some trick, isn't it? To make me fall for you again. Well, I won't. Oh, go on then. Scurry back to your ravens. I can't stop you. But strangely, she didn't. As Renato set off to find the Farfarer, she followed him, keeping just out of sight of the ravens. I need more materials, thought Renato.
Vamos então tentar encontrar o Farfarer com o nosso barco. Livrar-te da porcaria do feiticeiro, que é mais chato que
This is quite the view, he thought.
Há sempre alguma coisa neste elevador que ele tem de dizer ou tem de fazer. Acho que a melhor que já encontrei foi lições de balalaica com o número. Ora, podemos usar uma área ou podemos ir para outra. Podemos fazer. Este sendo bastante linear, este jogo ainda nos dá 2 ou 3 caminhos diferentes por nível, ou 3, dependendo do que poder fazer. Não sei se poderá, exatamente, no caso até podemos voltar, mas vamos voltar agora para este caminho. Nada, vamos ter que ir para o seguinte.
As Renato stopped to sniff the wind, Zenobia came up, still mad. Did you really think you'd just talk me into betraying my father? Oh yeah, sure, that was exactly my plan. Then why aren't you even talking to me? Because I've never talked you into anything in my life. They're gonna court-martial you for letting me go. He caught a whiff of the Farfarer. Wet rope, tar, and a cask of Scobel ale he'd spilt last year. It was that way.
Meu. Bem, vamos lá então.
Renato's paws were getting numb. Calaveras really didn't want company, did he?
Claro que até aqui
Renato
Calaveras,
if he
mas
should
o
have taken
Calaveras.
Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't playing him after all. After the bleak talk about the Emperor's dark secrets, he was regretting his suspicions.
Calaveras é sapo.
It wasn't his
Sapo,
fault.
mas é inteligente.
They looked so breakable.
Bravo isso. Nos dá conselhos durante várias partes do jogo.
Sure enough, the Farfarer had crashed in some rocks. There was no sign of Lupino. Zenobia caught up. All that kid stuff in Swordfu School. Look, that's the past. We're adults now. We have duties to other people. We have destinies. What are you talking about? And you are the most arrogant, slow-witted, light-fingered, mercenary, immoral, reckless. Run away with me, said Renato, and he realized he meant it. What? Just like that? She demanded. I will, if you will. So She kissed him. And it was the best kiss he'd ever had. They held hands as they boarded the Farfarer. Bernardo felt light-hearted, like the winds that were playing the rigging like a balalaika. But Lapino, I need to get back to Lapino, he said, suddenly realizing he could have been captured. A prisoner. He's not. How'd you know? He saw something in her eyes he didn't understand. He fell, didn't he? Into the abyss. She looked away. Wouldn't answer. But then a bolt smashed through the Farfarer's keel. The broken ship plummeted out of the clouds.
Lá estamos nós metidos em sarilhos.
Bernardo picked himself off the deck. They were alive. We have to get to my private ship, she said. Do you trust me? I guess I must, he said. You go on ahead. Clear the path, she said. I can't kill my own soldiers. He wanted to say that he didn't trust her, that he had no idea what he was getting into. But he had no choice, did he? He was following his heart. That's what it means to be a hero. You had to follow your heart.
Seguir o coração às vezes dá para o torto, né? Mas pronto. É o que os heróis fazem. Seguimos o coração, tudo dê pelo melhor.
Bernardo felt restless. Maybe he could focus all that energy into something useful.
Máxima. Não, combate. Depois ataque, agora causa ataques. Ah, mas ainda dá para tirar mais uma, então ok. Mais um combate, assim faço 10 de dano quando faço uma neutralização.
He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. They really needed to construct additional pylons.
Uma piada ao StarCraft. We need to build additional pylons. Ora, vamos ver isso. Ataca as duas costas. Dessa vez com bonito.
Where did that go to?
Safados. Ora, cá está, às vezes os pequenos bugs do jogo. De vez em quando o chão não faz o loading direto. Outras vezes faz o chão loading, mas fica com o por baixo.
When Bernardo went to the China shop,
começar o nível.
for some reason the owner was always nervous.
Então, vamos ver o que acontece, eu aprendo. Vou deixar o meu vigor para com os feiticeiros, um pouco mais depressa. Nós usamos deles.
Bernardo wondered if he could learn to cook this way. Probably not.
Ups. Outra vez, estúpido.
They paused to catch their breath. It was strange to be so close to her. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm trying very hard not to think. Me too, he said. Up ahead, he could see the thin silver of Zenobia's personal ship. It looked fast. They would leave all this behind.
Será? Será que iriam conseguir escapar? Vou um bocadinho mais para frente para conseguir apanhar o barco quando está a passar. Ah, está.
Hey, did you guys ever learn to swing dance? Oh, well, too late.
Consegui. Nada. Vamos.
Oh, they really ought to put a railing on this thing, he thought.
Sim, aqui. Então. Ah, o estúpido. Vamos ganhar um bocadinho de vida usando a energia da espada. Yes. Estou a por cima outra vez. Aqui. Ah, é aqui. Continuando. Da Zenobia. Oh, oh. Vou tirar com outro soldado para cima dele. Passa por ele. Boa, rápido. Ah, bolas, falhei. Agora atiro para cima dele, partiu o escudo. E agora sim.
As they reached her ship, Renato suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach.
Huh?
He was surprised to see a crossbow bolt sticking out of it. I was going to lead the Empire to our secret base, said Lapino. But no, you had to screw up my plan because you still got a thing for her. Renato stared at Zenobia. The kiss, was it real? She said, with a look of indescribable sorrow. She gestured and said an arcane word, and Lapino went flying into the abyss, screaming, I'm telling your father! Then she knelt down to cradle his head, and her paws felt very soft and warm. Okay, that was weird. He could have sworn he just died. Instead, he was on the Farfarer, sailing away from Ubar. And it was still burning. He'd fled burning Ubar years ago, hadn't he? And now he was back there. Had all those years fighting the Empire been nothing but a vision into the future? A useful vision if it was true. He'd learned something. Lapino was a traitor.
Traidor.
Renato had suspected there was something wrong with the Mad Rabbit. But now he knew there was malice behind his goofiness.
Descobrimos a primeira verdade. Lapino é um traidor. Portanto, se pedimos agora para continuar.
He'd made bad choices. But now, when the real battle came, he wouldn't make those choices. He wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The book's pages began to flip backwards, towards the beginning. And he realized that his adventure was just beginning.
Portanto, sempre que não
The clouds
conseguimos ganhar o
parted
jogo,
over the
voltamos
Isles
ao
of
princípio.
Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Renato. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing.
Acho que o Lapino não vou salvar mais porque
Renato had a pretty
este é
strong
traidor, portanto não
suspicion
preciso
that
da minha
Lapino
ajuda.
had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Sim, posso. Aqui temos depois as histórias com aquilo que nós escolhemos, portanto, foi resgatar o Lapino, encontrar a Zenóbia, não aceitar o plano do Lapino e não levar a Zenóbia até aos interrogadores. Portanto, que tipo de herói fomos nesta história? Um herói que segue sempre o seu coração e que deu para o torto. Bem, espero que tenham gostado desta pequena amostra, deste pequeno jogo que é engraçadíssimo. Ainda tenho de encontrar depois as outras 4 verdades. Uma sobre o Sky Ripper, uma sobre a Pedra Iblis e outra sobre a Zenóbia. Até uma próxima oportunidade, pessoal.